your thoughts towards racing here at Pocono? Is it one of your favorite tracks?
It is. It's definitely my top 5 or top 10 tracks.
Yeah.
It's 3 very diverse corners. It's one of those racetracks where you have to kind of pick 2 corners you really want to be good at, and 1 corner you kind of throw away. It is what it is.
Yeah.
And those corners, I personally think of the tunnel turn and turn 3, because the tunnel turn, if you're slow through there, a lot of guys can get a nose up under you, and if they get a nose up under you on turn 3, you might as well just give them the position, because you're going to just pay for it all the way down the front stretch. Same thing in turn 3. I mean, if you don't have a good handling truck or car there, you're just gonna pay for it all the way down that front straightaway. It's the longest straightaway there is on the circuit. It's just that's not where you want to be struggling. But I think we have a decent truck for today. I don't think we have a winning truck by any means, but I think we have a decent truck. The guys worked hard. I think we've made some gains on it. And, hopefully, Zaxby's 05 Chevrolet will do well today.
Yeah. How's your mentality changed here at Pocono? You were injured here a couple years ago with a concussion. Now you're back. Your first race here back. Did your mentality change? Every time you walk into this place?
Not really. I think it definitely makes you more cognizant, and makes you respect the place a little bit more. But I still come in here, and I approach it the same way. It's just another racetrack. You just have these one places. You just got to be cautiously aggressive, especially within the corner. Yeah. But it's a really fun racetrack, and it hasn't taken anything away from it for me personally.
Right. Can you just go through the series of events at Gateway? How it happened, how you found out what happened and everything like that.
Well, Spencer, he got into me and wrecked us in the turn 1. We came in and got 4 tires. What we didn't realize at the time was how badly the brake rotors damaged. So we went back out and we got the restart, and the brake pedal just went to the floor. Rotors exploded. So that second impact, I kind of saw stars, and something wasn't quite right. But knowing what I went through 2 years ago, I didn't really want to be 100% forthcoming, because I knew what it was. I would have to go through that approval process again. Looking back, was what I should have done. But I figured, to myself, I'd give it a week and see how I feel. In a few days, the symptoms hadn't subsided, so I said I was going to sit out for the Xfinity Daytona race. But even after that, the symptoms were still kind of lingering, and were made worse by whenever I would go to the gym, which I do a lot. Yeah. And at that point, I followed back up with the NASCAR medical community, and just did whatever they advised, and I ended up going back to the process again. And my scores are a little bit off. They have a computerized cognitive testing to where they measure reaction time and memory. And reaction time is a little bit off, and they definitely thought that there were some symptoms there. So they held me for 2 or 3 races. But just really excited to be back. I mean, at the end of the day, I think it was the right move to make, because last thing you want to do is not be 100% healed and go out there and get hit again and be out for the rest of the year.
Yeah. Did you react differently from 2014? Were you more you said cognizant this time? Did you kind of learn from 2014's issue, or did you react differently?
Are you asking as far as the process, or
as far as just your feelings and wanting to step out of the race car for a few weeks and take some time off?
Well, in 2014, I was kind of forced to, because I heard a pop in my neck when I hit the fence, and you don't want to take any chances there. If you got a fracture, it can be devastating. So when I told them that, it just kind of sent bells off in their head that they wanted to send me through that process. But this time, it was kind of up to me, what I told them, because there was nothing like really alarming, just other than me seeing stars and just feeling dazed. So I kind of took it upon myself to just kind of wait a week. If they had me they hadn't gone away, I knew what I was going to do. I was going to follow them.
Yeah. Tony Stewart said he was your biggest fan after Gateway. I don't know what that recognition is like for you. Did you notice that?
Yeah, I did. It was pretty neat. I'm not going to lie. Looking back, I know I could have handled myself a little bit better. I just kind of lost my temper. And, while it is good to stand up for yourself, I don't want to have a reputation, like a loose cannon out there waiting to go off. Because it's just, it's really not me. But, in light of things, it is what it is. When it happened, it happened. All we can do is go on from here.
Have you spoken to Spencer since then?
We talked in the trailer after everything had transpired, and everybody got released from the infield care center after the race. NASCAR kind of sat down with Spencer and I, and we kind of rehashed things out, talked things out. Spencer, he's seen kind of complacent, with the way things had turned out. Didn't seem, too upset. So I don't really think that there's too much more bad blood there, but I don't know. It just depends on how he handles himself in the future and how I handle myself in the future. And hopefully everything will go smoothly.
Yeah. Have you known him for a while? Have you guys ever had any run-ins before?
We have. And that's kind of what led me to lose my temper. There was an ARCA race. I want to say it was 2012 possibly, and we were leading in Salem, and we were waiting a few more laps to come in and get tires. They were doing green flag pit stops in Salem. But we were waiting a few more laps, and he came in earlier and got tires. And we saw him coming, and we were going to let it go, and he just drove over in there and, used 8 tires and planted me in the fence. So I wasn't very happy about that, and I kind of expressed that to Spencer after the race. So, there was a little bit of tension there, but, nothing extreme. But, when he did that, I guess it just kind of set me over the edge.
Yeah. Is that part of just how drivers just don't forget? They always, even if it's years ago, they always remember what a certain driver did to them?
Yeah, especially if it's a continued, thing. And I'm one of those people that, I really don't hold grudges, to be honest with you. But I do, remember, there was not necessarily any anger there, until he did what he did in Gateway. It wasn't like I'm just waiting for this guy to do something and just, behind me. It wasn't anything like that. It's just that, really, man, you're going to do it again?
Yeah.
But, I really hope, though, that, the tension, between him and I have calmed down, and we can move on from here and, race, like professionals out on the racetrack, and present ourselves as professionals off the racetrack as well.
Yeah. So you expect a fair race out of him today?
I certainly hope so.
Yeah, I certainly hope so. Yeah. So, with Dale Jr., he's going through, something pretty similar, and he's sitting out, Have you seen what he's doing, and what do you think about what he's doing? He's in such a big spotlight.
It's kind of the same deal. I really hate it for him. Unfortunately, he's been in a lot of big hits. He's been racing a lot longer than I have, and unfortunately, a lot of those hits have occurred at super speedways where the speeds are really high. Even though you heal from a concussion, I've read studies, in the past week or two that once you have one, even if if your symptoms are gone and you completely heal, even a year later, the next time it happens, the recovery time will be longer. So, I think that might be kind of what his doctor. I can't say for sure because I'm not his doctor or anything, but that would just be what I would guess.
Yeah. How does it affect your mentality, having multiple issues now? Does it affect how long you think you'll be able to race, or are you always just week to week always racing?
I try not to think about that, just because I love what I do, and obviously, I don't want to cut my career short, and I want to race as long as I can, and all you can do is go out there and just be cautiously aggressive and focus on the goal. And if something happens, something happens. But unfortunately, it's just a risk. All race car drivers kind of have to take.
Yeah, and just seeing different drivers in your 05 truck, how tough was that? And, how happy are you to be back in the truck?
Very hard. The worst thing, you can tell race car drivers you can't race this weekend, especially sitting home watching it. It's very tough. But really got to thank Parker, Cole Custer, and Brady Boswell. They all did a great job for me. Grant tested my car. Really thanks to those guys for stepping in and stepping in for me. But just hey, it all transpired the way it did.
All right. Yeah, definitely appreciate your time. Best of luck today. Thank you very much.
Appreciate that. Thanks.